No, slow down. They can deport anybody they want.
On any basis. And
It literally says that in the INA.
And you wouldn't condemn it. On any basis, and you wouldn't condemn it.
On any basis, a little bit too absolute. I'm sure there's some rationale where I'm going to be like, a guy discovered that Trump punched a baby, so they deported him quickly. I'd be like, whoa.
So would you condemn a deportation proceeding that was based on religion, even notwithstanding the fact that you wouldn't condemn that?
I would. I'm trying to explain. Yeah. Slow down. If he said, I don't want a Muslim, get him out of here.
I don't want a black. Get him out.
Get out. Whoa. What do you think? Like, that's crazy. That's a stupid. You can't do that. That's not a real reason. That's the rationale. And then we go to the INA and I say, oh, Congress passed a law saying they can deport anybody they want for any reason at any time.
They haven't done that. I don't agree with your reading of the INA, but I just want to be, I'm assuming.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It says at his own discretion.
It says every alien. Oh, so this is, you're looking at section 222.
221. Subsection I.
So after the issuance of a visa or other documentation to any alien, the consular officer or the Secretary of State may at any time in his discretion revoke such visa or other documentation. Notice of such ratification shall be communicated to the Attorney General, and such ratification shall invalidate the visa or other document from the date of issuance, provided that carriers or transportation companies, okay, so all that other stuff. So
the other stuff is related to like...
Go upwards. Does this apply to LPRs?
Yes.
Go upwards.
Yes.
This is,
but even so, go up to the top of the section.
Where do we have?
Here's where you have a problem, Pisco.
Yeah, what's the problem?
It's that he's held the same way that he can be denied a visa. They're held this, and the Supreme Court says you can hold them to the same standard with respect to maintaining that visa or green card. You cannot lie on it. You cannot say on a form, I'm not gonna do this, and then if it turns out that they change the status, or in the case of Mahmoud Khalil, where they actually lie on their application for one reason or another. I don't know if that lie was because they were afraid of further investigations, which would clearly throw them out. We don't know what the issue is, but at the end of the day, you held to the same standard while you're residing here until such time as you are fully naturalized. Once someone is naturalized, and I believe this in my heart of hearts to be both constitutionally correct, morally correct, and legally correct, once someone is fully naturalized and becomes an American citizen, that blessing of that work to attain that is conferred upon them the very special status that America affords her own citizens. And that status does not get afforded simply because they filled out a form and managed to get a visa or even a green card.
Joe, I like you.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I like you. What Tim just said was fucking crazy. I need you to acknowledge that.
What's crazy?
I don't know what he said.
What Tim just said is that legally, the Secretary of State or any member of the administration, I'll even assume the law says what it says and it applies to green cards. For any reason, they can deport any alien.
I think the threshold is literally what a threshold I've said now 4 times, which is facially legitimate and bona fide.
He said he would not condemn a deportation.
That's his moral. That's his morality law.
Why? What's crazy about me saying America's for American citizens?
What about no, I'm not saying that is crazy for you to say America's for American citizens, but I think that what America is defined largely by the Constitution, right? America is not just a geographical space, right? It's also, this pronouncement says, we the people of the United States are enacting, right? We are actually doing something here with the Constitution. America is defined by its Constitution. So for you to say something like, yeah, America's for American citizens, well, part of what America is the First Amendment. And so I respect what America is and its highest ideals. And that would be, even if I think that America in principle should cater to citizens more, if America does something that violates its principles, like discriminating on the basis of religion,
why would you?
I would call it out.
I actually think when you map the political conflict we've had over the last 15 years, you come to realize that none of this is actually true. Neither faction really cares about any of the constitutions, the Bill of Rights, the laws. It is simply a moral worldview in battle with another moral worldview. A few examples being the liberal faction consistently trying to take away our right to keep and bear arms in various degrees, arguing that only militias can have them, that supporting assault weapons bans and calling for them more and more. That certainly violates Second Amendment. Then you've got the First Amendment as it applies to, we have a right to free speech. It's interpreted a bit beyond government passing a law with respect to an establishment of speech, because it actually restricts the government from using existing law to enforce against speech. But then you have, again, for the past 10 years, the liberal faction trying to use private equity and private resources to shut down the politics of their political opponents.
Did you call that out?
I absolutely did. But see, that's my moral worldview. So when I say people have a right to express their political worldviews without fear of violence and harm, what are we dealing with right now? There is no fucking reality where I am going to stand in defense of the moral worldview of the left that are firebombing Tesla dealerships in wanton destruction of vehicles. And then they come to me and say, how could you not support Mahmoud Khalil? I'll be like, listen, the moral worldview you guys live in is might makes right, like the fucking Nazis. Okay, so you can make any argument you want to try to appeal to my view of the Constitution, and I'm going to say demons get no quarter.
So you're not going to stand on business because you hate the left. You hate the So I want to be clear. I condemn the Tesla bombers. That is fucking reprehensible. I don't agree with terrorism in this country. I'll call it terrorism, and I'll say yes, that is terrorism. I condemn it. I think it's horrible. That's me calling out the left. Why would you say? I think that MAGA and what Trump has done to this country is a fucking disaster.
Is it unconstitutional to arrest a person's lawyers when they're facing criminal charges?
No. Why would it be unconstitutional?
So if a person is criminally charged, right? Let's say he's indicted, a mobster in New York.
Yeah.
He hires a lawyer. The lawyer starts drafting his legal defense, and then the AG of New York goes and arrests his lawyers.
Depends on what's
RICO.
If the lawyer fucking shot someone, you would
no, RICO.
Okay, so
let me finish my question. They go to the lawyer and say, you're working with the fucking mobster. We're giving you 2 counts of RICO on top.
Oh, no, so sorry. So there you have a question of interpretation of RICO. Can RICO apply to legal advice? Okay, and in that case, I'm going to have an issue with criminalizing conduct that amounts to legal advice, genuine legal advice.
Like when they arrested Trump's lawyers in Wisconsin and Georgia.
I thought you. So I just want to be clear. There can be, in the course of pretending to give legal advice, if you are in a conspiracy to do some other crime, you would agree with this, right? If a lawyer says, I'm giving you legal advice because I actually want you to do this crime, that's not protected, correct?
I don't know.
So you answer that question.
Well, so hold on. I asked you a question.
Yeah. So I said no.
Okay, so when Jenna Ellis got arrested on 2 RICO counts.
She's part of a conspiracy to steal the election in 2020.
You see, that's the point. You decided to interpret legal advice as a crime.
No, because they're
sure did.
Hang on a second. These so you're taking the view that nothing with respect to lawyers.
A lawyer who drafts a letter for a client should be criminally charged for it.
What if that letter says with respect to hiring a mobster to hit someone? Would you say that?
A lawyer participates.
I'm going to ask the question again. If the lawyer drafts a letter to a mobster to get someone assassinated, would that be protected because it's a lawyer who drafted it?
Just for clarification.
Yes or no?
I need to clarify what you mean. You're saying the letter would instruct or attempt to bring a person into
either both. Let's do the 2 examples. You can answer both. One is it gives advice for how to get away with hiring a mobster, or it says these are instructions for hiring this particular mobster. Wait, I'm going to get an answer to this question. Wait,
here's why you don't deserve it.
No, I'm going to get an answer.
I'll tell you why you. No, I don't want to speak for you. I'm just telling you this is why. This is the disingenuousness with which you're addressing this. Because when we're talking about Mahmoud Khalil, you talk about things that he likely has done, and you say we can't bring those facts up because he's not charged by the government. So we have to pretend that those facts had not happened, and say that even if he's engaged in those, well, that doesn't count because after all, he's not charged with them. He's not charged with it. We have to pretend that these things never happened. And that's when we're talking about addressing wrongs committed by someone who's associated with the left. When you're talking about Jenna Ellis, you're saying, and you're trying to theorize how her legal advice could somehow morph into being something that's illegal and would deserve for her to be charged as a conspirator and a RICO charge. You actually have to invent some crazy thing. Not that anything.
You're not following the conversation, Joe.
I am following the conversation perfectly. What I'm saying is it's disingenuous. The disingenuousness comes from the fact that when it comes to analyzing the left, you refuse to deal with facts that exist as they are, and says because that's not charged, we can't talk about. When it comes to analyzing the right, however, you think it's totally fair to try and impugn their behavior, their conduct, and saying, well, it could be if they would have done this, and start inventing brand new hypotheticals as a way of trying to now attach some possible culpability to the actions that they took.
Tim is attacking my consistency. In essence, he's saying these rights are ephemeral. These rights are kind of contingent.
Your view of them are. I think you've concluded that.
Well, if I were to cite Supreme Court precedent, would you say they're ephemeral?
Which Supreme Court precedent?
Here we have the case of Bridges versus Wexon that says that resident aliens have First Amendment rights.
Sure do. How does that apply to the INA?
Well, even as against the INA, that was a case. Now it's a pre-INA case, but if it would be no different.
So it's superseded. We need the Supreme Court to rule on this how it applies because it came after the fact.
These particular facts and circumstances, there's no on-point case that specifically defines this case. And any lawyer worth their salt can find some way to distinguish a case and say, this is on Wednesday, not Tuesday. But I want to defend, because he's attacking me saying I'm dodging things, or I'm okay with one hypothetical and not the other. That is completely not true. So Tim is...
Did Jenna Ellis commit a crime?
Absolutely she did, yeah.
What did she do?
Yeah, so she conspired to get these false slates of electors, and by being part of a conspiracy, a criminal conspiracy.
Whoa.
Wait,
That's circular.
no, it's
what
not.
did she do?
So do you know what a conspiracy is?
What did she do?
A conspiracy. You know what a conspiracy?
What did she do?
Do you know what a conspiracy is?
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.